Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mix It Up podcast. I am Mike. Man, it's been about, I was checking this out before. Last time we did a Mix It Up podcast was about 6 months ago, and it was the Epstein Files episode. Man, I needed a mental health break after that episode. That shit was crazy. Shout out to the people that watched that episode on YouTube or listened to the episode or watched it on BitChute. The people on BitChute, man, you're the guys. You're the reason why I'm doing this episode tonight, man. I kept getting these messages through there saying to do the podcast. I see all the views I got, watching that. Appreciate it for sure. But it's just my opinion. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just like it's just crazy out there. We're living in a wild time, man. Like recently, like what's coming on with the whole like it's been 6 years since COVID, right? It's 6 fucking years, which is just crazy how time just flies. I remember COVID like it was yesterday. It was like a fucking like it was a vacation. It was months long vacation to just chill in your house doing nothing, which for a guy like me, that's a dream, you know? But not really because I was part of the essential working force. I had to work. I worked during this time. You put the mask on, which didn't do anything, by the way. It came out that just didn't work. We're all wearing these fucking stupid masks that didn't do a fucking damn thing. Turns out COVID was 99.9 survival rate if you were healthy. But the media, man, Dr. Fauci, like what an evil fucking bastard that fucking guy is. Let me tell you, what a piece of shit. The people that were just like swearing by this guy, right? Celebrities like Dr. Fauci, we love you. I think we all seen that Instagram video where that fucking dork is singing Dr. Fauci, blah 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 blah. Like he's such a like like what a fucking nerd. Like he was sweating Doctor. They were all sweating Dr. Fauci. Most of them, not me, not fucking me. These people, man, they were like I don't know. People got manipulated. Like I say this all the time. It was like three phases when the vaccine was coming out, right? Or be like right before that. They tried to scare us, saying like, if you don't get the vaccine, then you're gonna give it to your neighbor, or you're gonna give it to your grandma, and then your grandma's gonna die, and your grandpa's gonna die, and you know it, all this fucking crazy shit. They tried to scare you to death, literally, right? And then after that, when that didn't work for some of the smart people, they were like, all right, we'll try to bribe you. Remember these fucking people were going on talking about like getting cheeseburgers. You could eat a cheeseburger. You could go to a ball game if you get vaccinated, right? That was the second phase. Let me go back to the first phase. Remember all those fucking newscasts saying like they were just like really going after the unvaccinated, like we were such a nuisance and we were the problem. We were the reason. They made it out that we were the reason that life wasn't going to get back to normal. Meanwhile, the whole fucking thing was a sham and they just wanted money for everybody to take the shot was money. Remember they said like, oh, the vaccine is free for you. Yeah, it's not fucking free. Nothing in life is free. But they were like, hey, they kept trying to push the vaccine on like little kids, man. They little kids didn't need this fucking vaccine. They strapped masks to these kids, fucking terrifying them. For what? For what? Little kids get sick all the time. It's part of growing up. You're supposed to get sick. You're supposed to get this chicken pox, all that bullshit. You're supposed to get all of that. You know, all those little pieces of shits get sick. You go to school, you're sneezing on each other, you're throwing up on each other. You don't remember in grade school? That was part of grade school, right? You go to school, like your parents, like you're not fucking staying home. I got shit to do. You're gonna go to school sick. They didn't give a shit. You go there and you fucking shit your pants, you fucking peeing in the hallways. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You're getting something in fucking grade school, right? But they really like they fucked with these kids' heads, man. Wear masks, give them the fucking shot. It was just wild time. The news people were like really going after us, the unvaccinated, saying like we're the root cause of everything, and like it was just a 99.9% survival rate to begin with if you were a healthy individual. You know, the people that died, like they had these crazy numbers going on. The people that died, like going to the hospital, they were putting them on like ventilators because it could, you know, they was like, oh, I have a hard time breathing, so they just threw them on a vent, which is just nuts. Because once you go on that kind of shit, it's almost like a death sentence. You just die. You can't go on that fucking thing. Just a crazy time, just to seeing all like the propaganda being spread on that, and to force you to throw a fucking needle into your fucking veins, bro. It was just ridiculous. And like for me, like I don't even take the fucking flu shot. But listen, whatever. That's just me. I think, you know, obviously I was one of the smart ones that didn't take that shit. I didn't listen to anybody else. You know, I was like, I have an immune system. That's what it's for. You know, if they want to take me out with this COVID virus that was made up in a lab. Remember back in the day, I was on a podcast. I couldn't even talk about the COVID disease coming from a lab. If I said it came from a lab, I got booted off this podcast. But if I said that a human decided to fuck a bat, it was like, yeah, all right, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Ridiculous, just absolutely ridiculous. But whatever. So that was so we got past phase one, past phase two. So now we're in phase three, right? Where oh my god, they're gonna threaten your livelihood. You can't go to work without it. That was the last straw for me in regards to the whole like Democratic Party, the left. These crazy liberal libtards, I like to call them libtards because they have no common sense. No common sense. Absolutely none. The third phase was like, you know, like you can't go to work. You can't make a living. What are you supposed to do? For people that had to like they have a job, they have a family to support, all this stuff like we all do, they just felt like they had to go like, all right, just give me the shot. It was like, all right, it was they beat them down. They beat us down into forcing not me, not me. I went out. I'll tell you right now, I got that fucking white card out there. They were handing out white cards down the city. Put my name on that shit. Said I got the vax. I never got that fucking bullshit. Thank God. Thank God. I did not want that in my veins. Crazy. Kamala, Biden, or whoever the hell was running that administration, they were a part of it. They were a part of that shit, telling us you have to get it. You know, it just none of that shit made any sense. And then Fauci with the Fauci ouchie. Everybody loves to call it the Fauci ouchie, which is a great name, by the way. Of Fauci ouchie. You gonna get the Fauci ouchie? They should have named that the Fauci ouchie from the beginning, and then I don't think anybody would have taken it. Nobody would have took that shit. Even Julia Roberts, that was sucking Fauci's dick from the get go. God, these celebrities, it's so like you watch some of these videos, you know, back then they're singing songs about COVID, and it was just what a crazy fucking time. But now it's all coming out because the truth always comes to light. And it just turns out that it was all fucking sham. Fauci is evil. He was writing in his diary how celebrities like Jennifer Aniston loved him. Like, what the fuck? Like, why'd they put this fucking little rat bastard in front of the world to be the scientist about COVID? Meanwhile, it came from the lab that he funded with the gain of function research. It came from your lab. It was your lab. It was your fucking shit. It was from your place. The Wuhan virus, COVID, the literal name of the lab that it came from. It was just what they did, the Biden, the left, the libtards, to try to censor us from saying where it actually came from. Man, that is some fucking crazy shit. I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. I feel bad for the people that took the shot, got sick, you got hurt. A lot of people like, and even the people that don't think they got hurt or damaged by the COVID vaccine. Uh, man, it's really tough for me to say. I'm hoping you have a great immune system to fucking wash that shit out or get that shit out of there. But I've noticed a lot of you people that took the vaccine, you changed mentally, physically, whatever. I noticed. Trust me, I could see it, and I noticed right away after COVID, a lot of people just kind of lost their minds. They really did it. Like they took a beating and they just kind of lost. They just lost it. They're not like, I wouldn't say not themselves. They're just a little off. And I noticed that from people like in my business, customers, whatever going around. I noticed they just like I don't know. I think a lot of people just like kind of lost it. They're out of their minds, you know? And trust me, I have a lot of friends that are out of their minds for a bunch of different reasons, but it was just brutal, man, to go through all that. I can't believe we actually went through all that. And nobody like, I don't know, we didn't have a revolution on it, which sucked. Because 2020 was crazy. It was a crazy year. We should have had a revolution. Like they had like these protests for I'm talking about like the left now. They had these like protests called No Kings, right? No Kings. And they were like, oh, fuck Donald Trump, this and that, right? Why didn't they have a No King protest when Biden and Kamala were forcing you to take a vaccine in order for you to make money and have a life? How come how come people didn't have that? Oh, right, because we weren't allowed to social gather, right? We had to stay 6 feet away. Is that why? No, no, that wasn't why. But why did BLM, after the whole George Floyd thing, how come they got to gather without social distancing and everything, right? There's a game being played on us. We're all being manipulated on it. And it just goes to show you, like, we need to step up. Everybody needs to step up and be like, yeah, what the F is going on? Like right now. Now it comes out like, the whole George Floyd thing, we all remember. White cop, black crackhead, drug dealer, putting up guns to pregnant women's belly, trying to rob her. Remember that guy? So this guy, Derek Chauvin, whatever his last name is, he had the knee on the neck, and people just assumed that, oh, he killed the fucking black guy, which turns out, and I knew back then, but if you said that way, you're considered a racist. You don't know what you're talking about. Turns out that wasn't the truth at all. Okay. Toxology reports, shocker, Floyd had this crazy amount of fentanyl in his system. He was overdosing well before the cop put his knee on his neck, which, by the way, it's policy back then to subdue a guy that's resisting arrest. You put the knee on his neck, subdue him. He was complaining. George Floyd was like, and first of all the criminals, they always say, like, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. They always say that when they get caught. Okay. A lot of times they just say it so they can try to escape. Okay. That's their thing. That's what they do. That's what these fucking crackheads do. Okay. That's what the criminals do. So turns out initially the report said Derek Chauvin, like, he didn't cause a death. It wasn't asphyxiation. Okay. That wasn't the cause of death. The cause of death was a drug overdose. But remember at the time, it was social injustice. Okay. And the cop didn't never had like a trial. It was like a show trial. He wasn't allowed to show like the handbook for the cops with the policy they were using. He wasn't show. He never had a fair trial. Put it that way. Just point blank, never had a fair trial. And if he did, he would have got off. And of course, the people like organization like BLM would have fucking, panic. It's crazy. Like how the media, the leftist liberal tard media at that time made George Floyd seem like a hero to a certain group of people. whoever supported George Floyd. I'm not saying white, black, anything like that, because the media lied. You know, they just wanted to make it a white cop going after a black. That wasn't the case. It was just happened to be that's what it was. You know, the media just likes to they like to push narratives. You know, whatever. So, you know, BLM, they fucking started fucking protesting all this fucking bullshit over this fucking guy. Meanwhile, if you talk to people and
on display or a show for a political purpose or political needs.
right,
And this
Charlie
is an
Kirk.
example of it, where Derek Chauvin was not given a fair hearing in this trial. He was not even allowed to use the police training handbook in this trial
Right.
to show that he was taught to use that restraining technique. Okay, so what do you
See, that's what I mean. He wasn't taught was any all that shit just like wasn't allowed at trial, right? And these organizations, these people, they made a big deal, but they weren't. If you talk to people individually, George Floyd was not a hero, you know, but the media tried to make it seem like he was like a martyr, a hero. You as an individual, like no matter what color you are, it doesn't fucking matter. If you tell me that oh, your hero should be a crackhead that does fentanyl, that goes out, steals, robs, holds up guns to pregnant women's belly and tries to rob them in their own home. You're trying to tell me that that should be my hero? No. Hell fucking no. I don't know how that became such a thing, but that's a crazy thing for a hero or somebody, anybody to look up to. It's just fucking crazy. Why would you make that? I'd be embarrassed. Okay. And I know at that time there was like, man, there was some fucking people putting this dude's face on t-shirts and all that shit. That was just some like just ludicrous shit. You know, I don't want my hero to be some fucking loser, drug addict, crackhead that robs people. I don't know about you, but that's just me. You know, my hero growing up was like Don Manningly or some shit or John Starks. You know, some sports related or some shit like that. You know, like something positive. What would you want? Nobody wants your fucking somebody you look up to is to be a negative piece of shit unless you're a negative piece of shit. If you're a negative piece of shit, then sure, George Floyd could be your fucking hero. But like I said, the evidence coming out, free that fucking man. He was just doing his fucking job. He was getting this scum off the street. All those people, like, and trust me, listen, I know people have drug problems, and once you have drug problems and you're addicted, it it changes the chemicals in your brain, and you're just like you steal, you steal, you rob, you commit crimes, you become a prostitute, you go down a really bad path. Okay, listen, that's he chose that life, George Floyd. Like that's the karma that was coming back to him. Okay, at the time his family never talked to him or whatever, and then all of a sudden when he dies, then his family comes back into life, sues, gets $27 million. You'd think for a second they would give back that money for his life. Come on. Come on, man. Welcome to the real world. That they just used that fucking dude because he was related to them. And they just I don't know. I like it's crazy. If I had somebody that I knew, like a friend of mine, that was somebody acted like George Floyd and he got, you know, he had an overdose and like I would never think about suing the state, city, cops for his death. He put himself in that situation. That's his choice. He made that choice. You know, the only there's only two ways out when you're a crackhead. You're gonna die or gonna go to jail, right? I think that was two. That's pretty much it. Or listen, three, maybe you get your shit back together. I don't know. But crackheads, man, I don't know. Sometimes you can't kill them. They're like fucking superheroes, man. Sometimes they jump off buildings and they just fucking live. They will walk away. Like it's wild, man. You ever see a crackhead who's like, you could do some fucking seriously, like put them in a fucking car, like a test dummy, put them in the car, and they just manage to live. I don't know how they do it. Maybe because it's so fucking stupid. But I mean, that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. So all this shit, all the truth comes out to light. You start seeing it with the whole COVID thing, George Floyd, everybody panicking. It just like it was just another part of their division tactic that they were using, the media was using, just like they do with the whole left and right shit. And I was like, I tell you, with the whole politics situation, like people like, oh, Trump, he's a racist, he's a pedophile, all this shit. They had Russia Gate, he was like colluding with Russia. All that shit is just not true. Like the Russia Gate, Hillary and Obama, those stupid dumb fucks, they were trying to push this Russia Gate fucking story on Trump because remember when Trump and Hillary had that debate, back in like, oh my God, like 2015, whatever the fuck it was, before he became president for the first time. He was like, and she, first of all, if Hillary came after him saying, like, you're like a womanizer or some shit, you told girls, grab them by the pussy, whatever, pardon my French. Listen, he said that. Listen, there's no denying he said it. It was on tape. All right. He fucked up. He probably shouldn't say that, but listen, whatever. Shit happens, right? So Hillary, like, was going after him, just words. He was going after him about these words. He like thinking she was going to win the debate. And then Trump was like, well, you're evil, Hillary. Your husband is the worst. Your husband fucking paid off a fucking like sexual assault charge, all this shit. You can look it up. Bill Clinton, when he was governor in Arkansas, he was you gotta look that up, allegedly. I don't want to get sued here. But then it's also a fact that Hillary, when she was a lawyer, got this rapist off. And she like laughed about it and like, man, that's some evil shit. Right. And then Trump fucking called her out on that bullshit. He won the election. And then, Hillary and Obama just had to come up with something. They made up Russiagate. They literally made up Russiagate saying Trump was colluding with Russia and through the election, all that bullshit that came out. Man, those are some evil fucking people, I tell you, on the left. Once I started seeing that come to light and how the left, like with Biden wanted, like he was all about like, the whole COVID situation, all that shit. Man, it really like, how do you not wake up from that and be like, all right, maybe I should support Trump because, he's going after the lies. Remember the first term, he kept saying, and I didn't believe him at the time. He kept saying, like, fake news, fake news. That's what he kept saying, right? And then I'm like, man, now that we're in the year we are now, like 10 years later, we're 10 years later from when he first started saying that. And everybody's like, no, the news will never lie. Look at all the lies we have seen in the radical leftist media over these years. I mean, it's really crazy. And it makes a lot of people not want to believe anything that comes out the news, like all this propaganda and shit, like, and trust me, man, it goes back a long time. It's really wild. Like even like I mean, they used to call people like me, and I wasn't even that bad of a conspiracy theorist, like growing up, but it just like I would say like I wasn't a crazy conspiracy theorist, but I was just like I questioned a lot because a lot of like this shit didn't like make any sense. Even like 9/11, like right September 11th, when when that when that shit happens, they were like they blame it on these hijackers, these fucking crazy radical Muslims that fly these planes into the building, and I'm like, the plane crashes, and then all of a sudden, like the passports they had on them just magically fell to the ground in perfect condition. Like what? So that was the proof that they flew. That was just fucking crazy, man. There was a lot of things like that happened with like 9/11 that was just like nuts. And then you heard about the dancing Israelites that watched the buildings get hit from, like, I think Jersey, like right across like the river. Well, I'll get back to that. I'll get to that in a second. But it turns out this Abdul Abadat from like Saudi Arabia, whatever. I don't know, whatever he had, or I don't know, I think maybe he was from like Afghanistan or some shit, right? Well, whatever, you know. And I don't know. They found him like, I think he was like, they found him like after the fact, and he had like three numbers of Saudi princesses, right? Not princesses, Saudi princes, right? I think that's how it is, right? The dudes, right? Three dudes, right? Saudis, and it was listed in his book or whatever. After they killed this guy in like Afghanistan, right? So they found his diary, whatever the fuck. So he had like three cell phone numbers, and they were numbers of three Saudi princes. And so obviously, America, our agents, CIA, whatever, wanted to talk to these fucking people. So then all of a sudden, these three people, right? I don't know if a lot of people know this, but these three people in Saudi America, like one died on the operating table getting like liposuction, another died in a one car crash, and the third one died when he went hiking in the desert with no water. So it's like you're scratching your head, like, what? I'm like, that fucking can't, that can't be true. That no, that's actually true, right? But it's not the truth to how they died. Like they had him allegedly had him have him killed because they didn't want the truth to come out. So now, because people are like, oh, it can't be just like these terrorists or whatever. Like Saudi had a lot of money involved, and there was this one Saudi prince, right? I think the wife actually said, I can't, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I got to look it up. I think one of the wives sent 50,000 wire to the terrorists from Saudi Arabia. I think that's how it was. So $50,000 wire got sent to these terrorists right before 9/11 happened. So the connection is right there. So getting back to the dancing Israel people that were, watching the planes get hit, that people call them Assad or whatever. Listen, they could have been. It seems like they knew the plane attacks was going to happen, but they didn't say anything. They didn't do anything because they knew America would go back and attack Muslims and end up killing about 2 million Muslims throughout the next 20 years of the war, after 9/11. So it's like the Israel people, like on that river, like, oh, well, we don't like Muslim countries. Let this plane attack happen. America's going to go fight a war that we've been wanting to fight a war for. So we're just not going to say anything. So it's like, that's some evil shit too, man. It's like a game almost. So yeah, look that up. Like, look that up. There's a reason why these Israel people were dancing almost on the sidelines, knowing it was going to happen. There's always, if you're a good person and you don't want anything to happen, you would tell America, like, hey, this shit's going to go down. People knew there was big chatter going on months before that there was going to be a major attack. Nobody knew exactly when or where, but they knew it was going to be a major attack. And, I remember working back in the day at a supermarket back in the day, and I always used to get like the paper, the Daily News or the Post. And I always used to read it, no matter, it wasn't just the sports section, even though most of the time it was sports. But I remember reading an article and never forget it, man. I wish I had like Wish I could find out the date in the paper, but I could have sworn it was in July. And I remember reading the paper that July, right before September, so July 2001, and there was articles saying how like you know terrorists want to target planes. They want to like hijack planes. It was a big article. It didn't say hijack planes and flying into the fucking World Trade Center. They didn't fucking say that, but they said that they were targeting. I mean, but listen, at the time, like before that, and to this day, like it was always a thing about like terrorists want to hijack planes. It's been done before, you know. But it was. I remember being in the article right before, like a couple months before it happened, and I was like, "Holy shit!" So people knew. Maybe they didn't know fully the extent of exactly what was going to happen, but man, there's a lot of crazy shit that is just like come out in the last like in the last like I don't know, couple months, you know? Just a lot of fucking crazy shit. Man, there was another thing too I want to talk about. It's crazy what's going on with these sports and dudes trying to play in sports. I mean, we had some fucking freak that was a swimmer, Leah Thomas, whatever. By the way, it's the name of my fantasy football team name. My fantasy football team name fully is Leah Thomas's left nut. Because it's just crazy. This fucking dude's like, I'm a girl, I'm gonna fucking dominate women's fucking swimming, right? And just like, what the fuck? Like, we're not gonna protect our women, we're not gonna protect the sports, you know. There's a reason there's women's and men's sports, right? So of course you see these trannies, these fucking weirdos, these men that are like, oh, I'm gonna fucking put a wig on, I'm gonna fucking put a bra on, and I'm gonna call myself a woman and just dominate fucking whatever sports they decide. You never see it the opposite way, You never see it where it's like, I'm a girl and I'm gonna say I'm a man and I'm just gonna go play running back in the NFL. I mean, we all know why, because that bitch will get fucking clobbered and she'll die on the fucking field. And nobody wants that. Nobody wants to see that. But maybe we should see it so it just teaches everybody a valuable lesson that what the fuck are we doing? Why are we acting like lunatics? All right. Just man, protect the women, man. Like it's messed up. Now we got this thing, the WNBA, these five they must be filled with libtards that run this organization. They must be like telling each other their pronouns every 2 seconds. They probably walk around the hallways like, hey, she, him, Jay, them, whatever the fuck. And they're probably at the water cooler, like, hey, they, them, this, that. Don't judge me on my gender. Gender's not just two, it's fucking 46. Fucking crazy. These people are just absolutely fucking lunatics. It's a guy and a girl. That's it. Pretty simple. But anyway, so the WNBA, they can't figure it out. They can't figure out they can't figure out what a woman is. And there's some fucking tranny, right? Some fucking dude that's playing overseas in like Turkey or some bullshit. He's playing basketball. And this dude is just dunking on bitches left and right. like it's no fair. He's averaging like fucking 30 points and 30 rebounds a game. And he's like, oh, if the WNBA asks me, I think I might play. Of course you go fucking play the WA. You're gonna fucking make millions, you know? Dude's like fucking 6'8". He's gonna fucking dominate. Ridiculous. And the WA is like, oh, we gotta make a decision. There's no decision, no thought. No, right? You don't want dudes playing in the WNBA. Now, this guy Ennis Kenter, former he played for the Knicks. Former Knicks center. Dude's like 7'1", right? That dude's like, you know what? I'll put my name out for the WNBA to draft me. And great guy. He's just playing them like a fiddle, man. He's just gonna go out there and it's like, yo, you're gonna discriminate against me? I'm a girl now. Nobody could say anything. And I'm praying, right, that the WNBA can't stop it. Like it's a joke. Like but he's really like he's signing papers. He's like, put me in the draft, you know. So it's like now, are they gonna be hypocrites? The WNBA, like, no, you can't play. You're a man. So they're kind of stuck. They're really kind of stuck, which is so great to see because they, in order for them to not be hypocrites, they have to allow him to play in the WNBA, which would just be fantastic because the ratings would just fly through the roof. First off, I would bet on this dude every game because he's gonna get the rock and he's just gonna fucking dunk, steal, block shots, throw these black lesbians to the ground because the WNBA is just filled with black lesbians. I mean, there's a couple like white girls that fucking play there. They just get beat up every week. It's just wild. Like the racist shit you see, like it's just crazy. And these black lesbos are just fucking. They're in for a rude awakening. It's just gonna be great to see. And I'm telling you, I would watch that every night if there's a dude like Ennis Cantor playing on a WNBA team. I'm like, I'd just be sitting there laughing because they won't know. These libtards won't have no idea how to react or what to do when this man is just fucking putting it down on these lesbos left and right. I mean, there's just like WNBA coaches that were, they're female or whatever. They're like, oh, we support trans. They're wearing t-shirts support trans. It's such a joke, but it never goes. The trans situation never goes the opposite way. You never see a girl wants to be a guy, like the fucking fucking, I think whatever, Elliot Page, she was Juno, whatever, pretty girl back in the day. Then she fucking cut her tits off and fucking decides to be a fucking dude. I'm like, what are you doing? You fucking look stupid, you know? But that's like you really, you don't see a woman be a dude and just decide to play fucking sports because like I said before, what would happen. Can you imagine them going to play football or basketball or hockey or just about anything? You know what I mean? It's just wild. But sure, have men that are acting like women, like a bunch of Mrs. Doubtfires going in and just fucking playing sports and just dominating. It's just, how did we get here? I don't understand. I really don't understand what's going on. Like sometimes I feel like it's just a big joke. Like everything's just a fucking big joke, and it's just like, yeah, we're gonna do whatever the fuck we want. There's no common sense anymore. Where'd the fucking common sense go? How are there people not? But you know what? We do have common sense because we have Trump, as a president, and he breaks it down and he's like, he just says common sense, and then these libtards go after him saying, you're a racist, you're anti-trans, you're anti this, anti that. That's what the problem is. They fucking go after him. Like, what the fuck? It's just total nonsense, man. These fucking trans people. Let me tell you something. In the city I live in, I used to see trans fucking people back in the day, and that it's all like these fucking dudes dressing up in like women's clothes. They're all cracked out. They're all fucking mentally ill. Okay, they're all hanging out down the fucking south of the city, doing drugs, all that shit. They're fucking mentally ill. Okay, you're born a man, you're born a woman. Okay, that's it. You're not fucking a member of the opposite sex just because some fucking shit you've seen on like your computer says you might be. It's just, dude, come on. We need to say it what it is. It's mental illness. All right, you're mentally ill. Can we just? But you can't say that anymore because then these fucking libtards go after you and they try to shame you. They try to fucking shame you, which is just, that's just complete nonsense too. I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. It's crazy how we got here, you know. And we have like these crazy doctors that are just like cutting off private parts and like, yeah, yeah, we'll make you a fucking girl. We'll make you a fucking guy. We don't give a fuck. Just fucking open up that checkbook. We'll make it happen. That's what it really all comes down to. It all comes down to the fucking money, you know? And I tell you, you ever see some of these fucking, ugh, like some of these people, like you see on social media, like the trans people that, the dudes that turn themselves into chicks. Sure, you get the occasional one or two, like, oh my God, wow, you can't even fucking tell that's a dude or not. You're like, holy shit, dude's hot. But most of the time, 99.9% of the time, these dudes are hideous monsters. You're like, dude, you don't look good, man. We know you're a dude. You're fucking ugly. You got a big Adam's apple. Your hands are fucking bigger than my head. And it's just like, man, what the fuck are you doing? That's one shit, man. If you're at a club like one night, you get tricked. Can you imagine you're a dude, fucking straight man, right? You're fucking like, oh shit, and then you get tricked by one of these fucking things because they didn't come out and fucking tell you. We should be able to let that happen. It never happened to me, never will, because trust me, I got good taste in women, straight, good looking, all women all day. But I could see some of these dudes be out in the club getting all fucking tipsy, and then all of a sudden, like, the fuck is going on here? They don't know. That should be like where you get like, and you hear the horror stories about like when dudes get tricked, they just kill these motherfuckers. Dude, I tell you, you get tricked like that, that's something you would just be like, like in Ace Ventura, it was like, oh, I fucking kissed the man, and then he fucking has the plunger on. He's fucking in the bathroom, fucking trying to brush his teeth. That's, I mean, shit. At least Ace Ventura made it funny. Like, motherfuckers, like, you go out and fucking kill these motherfuckers trying to trick you like that. Finkel and Einhorn, Finkel and Einhorn. That was the best. You can't make that fucking movie anymore, when fucking Ace is in the shower, he's like, I kissed the man. He's fucking showering in the fucking cold shower. Um, that's great. Your gun is digging into my hip. Man, what a fucking great movie, man. You can't make that shit anymore. You just fucking can't because you get canceled. These fucking people just want to fucking cancel you for no reason. You can't even be funny anymore. You can't fucking tell jokes anymore. Must be so hard being a fucking comedian. Even doing podcasts, like people fucking come after you. Like, I trust me, I've said a lot of dumb shit before. And listen, it was mostly like common sense, but it hurts people's feelings. And I got comments coming after me and fucking people on social media blocking me, all that fucking shit. I heard your podcast, blah, blah, blah. Shut the fuck up. Stop being a bitch, right? If everybody stopped being a bitch and just could like go back and forth on jokes or debates and shit like that, it'd be a lot fucking better place. But now it's like these fucking, I don't know. Look at the trans violence the past fucking couple of years. It's been, the people shooting up the school is like trans people or shooting up businesses, trans fucking people. Like they're fucked up. They're mentally ill. You're fucking mentally ill. Okay, Ray Finkel? You're fucking mentally ill. But that's it. I'm sure some of you are fine. Whatever. That's the life you want to live. Like, so be it. Okay. That's, in all honesty, like if that's how you want to live, I don't give a fuck. Nobody really gives a fuck. Okay, just don't fucking push it on fucking people and try to shame us or cancel us into just accepting like your way of life. Okay, you don't bother us, we don't bother you. That's how it fucking should be. You live in America, so, or most of you do, whatever. Because if you lived in other countries, you'd just be thrown off of fucking buildings or get pushed off a big blimp in the sky. The big gay blimp usually. Nah, not gay blimp, trans blimp. Right down to the ground, right off the fucking basket. You push off the fucking basket. But yeah, I mean, other countries they do that. If you're gay or you're fucking trans or anything, they just fucking throw you off buildings, which is just insane. That's insane, all that shit. That's why, like, you leave us alone, we leave you alone. Like with the people that are out there with the picket signs protesting gay marriage and all that shit, like those people need to go too. I don't care what other people fucking do. You want to be gay, you want to fucking do this, you want to fucking do that. All right, That's it. I don't give a fuck. Right? Everybody should have that fucking mindset. I don't give a fuck what you do. Just leave me out of your situation. You know, it's a lot better like growing up without the internet, and just living in a bubble. Like I never knew fucking, you know, crazy people fucking existed. You know, I never knew there was a bunch of Ray Finkles running around the fucking neighborhood. I had no idea. Such a fucking better time, man. I think the internet, social media, all that shit just really like, I mean, sure, it could have like great usage, whatever, a lot of information out there, but man, sometimes it's just too much. But then again, like I'm on Instagram sometimes and my algorithm is fucking amazing. It's like, it's fucking great. It's all people like just going around farting, in public, which is fucking hilarious. There's, dogs and shit, fucking little bulldogs running around and, shit like that. It's really like a lot of like comedy fucking shit. Yeah, I sit there and I'm like going through my reels, like it got me. It fucking got me hooked. I'm there like before bed, like an hour, and I'm fucking laughing out loud. Some of the shit these fucking people do are fucking funny. Like, let me see. Like, let me see what I can find on Instagram right now before I go. Oh wow, Lily from AT&T. Remember that girl from the phone company? She threw out the first pitch at the Met game. Oof, had a big crush on her, man. So she's on my algorithm right now. Some Italian chick is on my algorithm. This news girl that I've been following from like, I don't know, like one of these fucking News 12 and shit. She's on my fucking radar now. Then this guy's farting. Okay, a couple sports. This fucking guy singing. Let's hear what he's singing. I think he's singing the glory of love. Right? This guy looks fucking weird. He has like a bowl haircut, fucking glasses that are like orange, fucking crazy. Oh my god. A little Asian girl singing. I don't know how she got on my fucking Instagram, but that shit's fucking funny. Softball, fucking dudes hitting bombs. Not me though. Seinfeld. All right, some of these guys that are just mentally challenged are just like, I don't know, they're singing, so I can't play that. More bulldogs. Some 80s music. It shows every rational person alive in 2020 who refused the vaccine. It was just one person standing there, which was me. That's a good one. This girl just going around asking dudes if she wants to have sex with them. Obviously, yes, because she's banging. See, fart. That fart sounded like the beginning of that song. That's a real fart. And that's the beginning of Chris Isaac's song, you know? Wicked Game. Just amazing, man. This fucking algorithm got me. I could be on this fucking Instagram all day and all night. Hopefully it never changes. Right before I go, I will say this. There was one thing back in the day that people were flipping out on. The media made it such a big deal. Remember on Saturday Night Live when Sinead O'Connor ripped the picture of the Pope up on air, and she was like, fuck this guy. And turns out, like, remember the media was just like relentless, like fuck her. It pretty much ended her career when she did that. But now you think about it, with all the fucking crazy shit with the Pope, the church, these kids, all this shit that's coming out. She knew. She knew and tried to tell people that there's some evil fucks lurking in the background. She was right. Sinead O'Connor was right. She had the guts to go on SNL and do that, you know? And you just never heard from her again, and she died, but she knew. She knew. A lot of these people knew. Like, it's just crazy how the media makes these people out to be crazy at the time, and we all fall for it. We're just like, oh yeah, that bitch is crazy. She ripped up the Pope on the fucking TV. Now we know, right? Now we know. Just crazy. So yeah, all right. That's it on this podcast. I think I rambled enough, but hopefully I enlighten you guys. But I'm glad to be back. I'm glad the people like reach out to me on especially BitChute, man. Shout out to you people on BitChute. Definitely put this podcast up there first. Shout out to you guys. You guys know what the deal is. And then yeah, hopefully I'll see you soon. Unless the men in black come and fucking get me. But we'll see. Peace.
Sometimes the darkness shades the light. Sometimes the day feels like the night. I don't know what's wrong with me. Never mind about what I've seen. I'll sit alone in this disguise, but I'll try.